thousands of students who are trying to get their voices heard. Earlier on, they were inside the precinct, but after a range of stun grenades and banging went off, they were all forced out. Now, while I was here, I witnessed running battles between police in riot gear and the students, and these kids are not backing down. They were moving full force to the front. They showed no fear. I saw students on the ground crying. Some of them were hit by various missiles. As I'm standing here right now, there are missiles being launched over the gates. These students are telling the cops they are not going anywhere. On the other side of Parliament, at the other gates, we have the same situation over there. The students are actually on the premises on that side. They're sitting in, they're forming little protests, and you constantly see students trying to break through the police barriers, trying to get in. In the meantime, the National Assembly is still sitting. MPs are going to be expected to come out from the steps, onto the steps of the National Assembly soon. So who knows what's going to happen then, because these students are demanding that they see Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande today. Back to you in the studio.
All right, let's try and get Francis if we can. Now, Francis, I know you can't really see what's going on from where you're sitting, but I mean, word on social media everywhere. The students are saying they will not budge until they see the Minister, of course, of Higher Education, Mr. Blade Nzimande. Is there being any word on the outcomes of that? Is there anything being done in relation to that?
With Johannesburg.
Francis, can you hear me there?
Sure. Yes, I've got you, Alicia.
All right, Francis, I'm just asking from where you're sitting, you might not really see what really is going on, but I mean, the word on social media everywhere is that the students are saying that they will not budge until they see the Higher Education Minister. Any word on that in terms of somebody saying something to him inside Parliament?
Last I saw, the Finance Minister, Nhlanhla Nene, was continuing with his speech. So it seemed quite quiet and calm. He carried on. That's when we started hearing the sounds of rubber bullets outside Parliament. I then went outside and saw the students who had stormed the gates and entered the parliamentary precinct. At that time, it seemed quite calm. They were singing, they were dancing, but we know that more recently there have been clashes in that precinct. We've been bringing you those live visuals, and I did see some of the students. One certainly was bleeding. We saw the stun grenades, and that was all happening inside the parliamentary precinct. So as far as I know, the Finance Minister is still inside, but those MPs, including the Finance Minister, including Minister Blade Nzimande, if he's there, will need to exit. And that is the tricky situation. We're here a few meters down the road from that main door, and we're in the parliamentary precinct. And I can tell you none of our guests, the people that we are trying to speak to, are able to get to us. So I think this is a big security issue when those MPs and when the Finance Minister and the other ministers themselves exit that building.
Look, Francis, I mean, this was supposed to be a peaceful protest with, of course, the students saying that they want to air their views during this time of the budget in order for the minister to actually understand their seriousness about the situation. But now, what exactly happened? How did it unfold that it just got from inside the house to outside?
You know, I can tell you that it started for me. I heard a colleague say that they had seen a tire being burnt outside. There were rumors that students were going to be bussed in from UCT. We know that they started coming in from various different tertiary institutions in the area. Those numbers swelled. I went outside and I saw about 600. But after that, those numbers swelled and swelled and swelled. Initially, like you say, it seemed very, very peaceful. There were some police in riot gear, but not many, and the police seemed to be handling the situation very well. They were very calm. There was a cordon. The students were peaceful beyond that cordon. Now, what we know is that there was a lot of focus on that main protest, which was on Parliament Street, the main street. They weren't blocking the entrance. The MPs were still able to come into the precinct. However, there's a smaller street at the bottom of Parliament. There was less attention being paid there, and that's where some of the students went and stormed the gates. We heard banging. Some of the noises we heard, apparently rubber bullets. So that was when the clashes started outside. Those students came inside the precinct. Again, it seemed quite calm. They were singing, but we know that recently there's been clashes inside the precinct as well. There you can see, and Nhlanhla Nene still continues to give his speech inside the assembly. He was delayed. Politicians themselves were talking about this issue, saying that the mini budget should not be tabled today because this is such an important issue. However, as we heard from economics editor Thandeka Ngcubule, the politicians that were kicked out from the EFF, also, the DA's Mmusi Maimane tried to engage with the students outside in the precinct, and they were actually told that they would, that the politicians must leave, that the students would like to handle this matter themselves.
Look, at Francis, inside the House, are they even remotely aware of the current situation outside?
They must be, because, like I say, we're down the road in the precinct, so just a few meters from where they are, and you could hear the banging. You could definitely hear the banging. It seems that those were stun grenades. So I am convinced that in that house, they would know that there is something going on, whether they know all the details, but certainly social media is buzzing with this, so I'm sure. And this is a decision. The finance minister, he was heckled when he started. The EFF was saying, bring down those fees, bring down those fees, and he continued to talk. So I think he's decided, he's taken a decision to continue and to not let these student protests or the political machinations around the student protests to stop him tabling this mini budget today.
All right, but as where you said, Francis, do you think that the things are slowly getting under control in terms of the riot police versus the students outside?
It looks like it is. I'm seeing the same visuals that you can see. We're not hearing any more of those bangs, and I think that some of the students have been evacuated. You can see it's a much calmer scene right now. So the tension seems to have dissipated, but you know, before we know that these students stormed from a place where they weren't expected to storm from. I gather there's a lot of a larger police presence outside the building now, and you can see it definitely does look a little bit calmer inside the parliamentary precinct right now.